Okay, in 9.4b, we're going to continue using the quadratic formula. Yesterday, all the answers were irrational. Today, some will be rational and some will be irrational. Okay, remember, in order to use the quadratic formula, we need to be in standard form, highest degree to lowest degree, and that needs to equal 0. And then we can use this formula to find our x values or whichever variable we are finding. Okay, so we're going to solve this using the quadratic formula just like last class. We're going to go ahead and identify a, b, and c. A is 2 because it's the coefficient of x squared, b is 9, and c is positive 5. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and plug it into the formula. Since we're trying to find x, it will be x equals. We start with negative b, so this will be negative, what is b? B is 9, so negative b is negative 9 plus or minus the square root. Then in the radical we have b squared. B is 9, so 9 squared minus 4 times a times c. Then our denominator, all over 2a. 2a. First step's hardest, remember. Now we need to simplify our radical in our denominator and then see what we can do from there. So negative 9 plus or minus, in the radical, I have b squared, so 9 squared is 9 times 9, 81. Minus 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 5 is 40. And then in the denominator, I have 2 times 2, which simplifies to 4. Okay, let me go ahead and subtract the radical. 81 minus 40 is 41. Okay, now let me look at my answer. Square root of 41 is irrational. Does it simplify? No, it's only 41 times 1, so that's not helpful. So remember, these are my two answers. I have negative 9 plus the square root of 41 divided by 4, and then negative 9 minus the square root of 41 divided by 4. That answer is irrational. Let's do a couple where they have rational answers so you can see what that looks like and how we simplify it. Okay, for b, I'm going to go ahead and solve this using the quadratic formula. It is in standard form, it equals 0. So I'm going to go ahead and identify a, b, and c. So a is 1, b is 7, and c is 10. Since we're solving for x, I'm going to say x equals negative b. B is 7, so negative 7, plus and minus the square root of b squared. B is 7, so 7 squared, minus 4 times a times c, all over 2a. Okay, we're plugged in. Let's go ahead and simplify this. Okay, in the radical I have 7 squared, 7 times 7 is 49, minus 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 10 is 40, so minus 40, all over 2 times 1 is 2. Let's go ahead and keep simplifying this. Negative 7 plus or minus the squared. 49 minus 40 is 9, and I still have a denominator of 2. Okay, now let's see. Now the square root of 9. Okay, now the square root of 9 is rational. The square root of 9 is 3. So I'm not done. I need to keep simplifying this, and I'm going to get a rational answer. So let me see. Negative 7 plus or minus the square root of 9 is just 3. So I'm going to go ahead and put a 3 here. It's still over 2. Now, because it's rational, I need to keep going till I get this nice rational answer, a fraction or a whole number, positive or negative. Okay, now let me think about my answers here. Okay, remember, one of my answers is negative 7 plus 3 and then divided by 2. The other one is negative 7 minus 3 divided by 2. So let's first consider negative 7 plus 3. Negative 7 plus 3 is negative 4 divided by 2, which gives me negative 2 for one of my answers. But there should be two answers because this is quadratic. So now let's consider the other answer. If I do negative 7 minus 3, negative 7 minus 3 becomes more minus. Negative 7 minus 3 is negative 10 divided by 2, and I get negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5. So my answers are negative 2 and negative 5, which are really nice answers. And I used the quadratic formula to get it. That being said, if you look back at the original problem, if I had factored this, I would have had x plus 2 times x plus 5, and I would have also gotten negative 2 and negative 5. So quadratic formula is not always the most quickest way to solve something, but it will always work. Okay, let's go ahead and try the next one. It's also going to have rational solutions, so we can practice simplifying. Okay, it is in standard form, it equals 0. It's going from highest degree to lowest degree, so I'm going to identify A, B, and C. A is 3, B is positive 2, C is negative 1. Okay, since we're solving for x, I'm going to say x equals negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, now that we're plugged in, let's simplify it. Okay, in the radical, we have 2 squared. 2 times 2 is 4. Let's see, minus 4 times 3 is minus 12. Minus 12 times minus 1. Oops, this is going to switch to a positive. Okay, 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 1 is 12, so it's 4 plus 12. And then in the denominator, I have 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, let's keep going. Negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 4 plus 12 is 16 over 6. Okay, now the square root of 16 is rational, it's 4, which means I'm not done and I have to keep going until I get my rational solution, which could be an integer or a fraction. Okay, so the square root of 16 is just 4, so I'm going to change this to a 4. And then I'm going to divide everything by 6. Now remember, this is 2 different answers, so let's consider the first one. If I do negative 2 plus 4, negative 2 plus 4 is positive 2. And then I divide it by 6, which is going to be a fraction. I should simplify my fraction. 2 and 6 both divide by 2, so let me simplify it down to 1/3. So one of my answers is 1/3, but this is quadratic, so we know most of the time we get 2 answers. Okay, my second answer is negative 2 minus 4. Negative 2 minus 4 is more negative, so that's going to be negative 6 divided by 6. Negative 6 divided by 6 is negative 1. So my answers are 1/3 and negative 1, which means when you look back at the original problem, I could have factored this because A is not 1. This could have been factored by grouping or box method, but this method also works. Okay, go ahead and try the practice problems. Check your answers at the bottom to make sure you're simplifying as much as you need to.